Welcome back to We Want Picks, and this is Artem MMA Analysis. Going to be talking about Dana White's Contender Series 2022, week number 10. This is probably the last you're going to see of me on the We Want Picks YouTube channel for a while. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to this card, Contender Series 2022, week number 10. It should be pretty stacked. There's a couple of really good, sneaky good prospects on there. Obviously, it is headlined by Bonacini. I've been very happy to be making videos for the We Want Picks channel, so I would like to thank Angelo and the team for giving me the opportunity. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the content, all the extra Dana White's Contender Series content, because that is what I was kind of put on to bring to the YouTube channel. I do write articles for the website, as I said in my week number 1 video, but so if you want to still see more content from me on the We Want Picks sort of socials, check out the website and check out the blog. I write a weekly blog post mainly about Dana White's Contender Series, Road to UFC, some UFC predictions and stuff like that, but I write one article a week on their blog. Let's talk about week number 9. I picked all 5 favourites. I don't think Jacob would be too much of a fan of me picking all 5 favourites, but it happened, and to spoil everything, it's actually happening this week. I made all of these predictions before the odds have come out, but now that the odds have come out, I'm picking all the favourites again. I'm sorry, guys. But anyway, week number 9, it worked out for me. I picked Rafael. I picked him to win by submission. There was a little bit of grappling in the fight, and Roybert did actually look a lot better on the ground than I expected, but he ended up getting a KO in the end. I picked Elias to win by decision. This guy has had 6 wins coming into the Dana White's Contender Series, 5 of which by decision, and the one TKO win was like the corner throw in the towel, so it wasn't really like a TKO that he got himself. And he destroyed Josh Wick in the first round, so good for him. He got a contract, and he should be a big problem going forward. Austin Lane versus Richard Jacoby wasn't the most exciting fight in the world, but Austin Lane finished him off pretty brutally on the ground. Got it done. Hal Rosas Jr. had an amazing Dana White's Contender Series fight. Got signed to the UFC, got signed at 17. I believe he might be 18 years old next month. So it'll be very interesting to see who he fights next. I'm expecting him to fight maybe JP Bays in his debut. I think that's kind of a fight that might make a little bit of sense. And Bruno Ferreira versus Leon Aliu. It was a pretty good fight while it lasted. It didn't last that long. I guess the stoppage was somewhat controversial, but I think that Leon Aliu was done. I think Bruno won that one 9-0 as well, undefeated coming into the UFC with a 9 finishes as well. That's awesome, man. I think that we could see some big things potentially come out of Bruno Ferreira. So let's get into the picks. It was a 2.5 minute intro, but it's my last time on the channel. I've got to make it count in some way. We've got to have a 2.5 minute intro every now and then. And now to finally start talking about the card, we've got Ashiek Ajim versus Mateus Mendonca, and the pick here is Mateus Mendonca. I do believe that he's going to get the job done here, but Ashiek Ajim is pretty dangerous on the feet. But where Mendonca has a pretty big advantage is definitely on the ground, and I think he's going to look to take down Ashiek Ajim and get a submission from there. It's also worth noting that this guy's a really young prospect as well. Mateus is not even 24 years old right now, and he's already got a 9-0 record. Ashiek is 6-1, and he's 28 years old, so he's a little bit older, but he's still a pretty good age to be a prospect to follow. Ashiek Ajim, though, his one loss on his record is Chris Moutinho, which is a little bit scary when you actually watch the fight, because Chris Moutinho just kind of weathered the first round storm that is Ashiek Ajim, and then after the first round Ashiek Ajim, his power and his power just seems to kind of go, and he's just not the same fighter in the second and third round as he is in the first, that's for sure. And that's kind of what Chris Moutinho showed. He kind of gave the pathway to beating him, really. Just kind of survived the first round, let him gas out, and then work from there. And I think that's what Mateus Mendonca is going to do. I think Mateus Mendonca's got he's got a striking disadvantage in this one. I think Ajim is the better striker, and Mendonca has been hittable at times, which maybe Ajim could capitalize on because he does have KO power, especially at this division of 135. But yeah, Mendonca, I think he's got a great grappling advantage here, and I think he's going to look to go for a takedown. Maybe in the first round he's just looking for takedowns to tire out Ajim, and then in the second round and the third round, maybe that's when he's going to get a submission. He trains out a shoot box as well, which is a pretty well-known Brazilian gym as well. A lot of the shoot box guys actually fight very similarly with a very aggressive style, and that kind of is what Mendonca brings to the game. But I think that what we're going to see here is Mendonca look to grapple, because Ajim, as I said, I mean, I'm not gonna say it enough. I think he's got KO power on the feet. He's got the striking advantage, but I think that Mendonca's gonna look to use his grappling here, and he's gonna win. I'm gonna predict by submission later on into the fight, but we'll see what kind of happens. But I think if it goes after the first round, you might see Ajim start to slow down like he has in the past. And something that I always do on this channel, unfortunately, is forget about the odds. Ashiek Ajim is actually plus 225. Mateus Mendonca is minus 265, which is a pretty wide line for this fight in my opinion. We move on to the next one, Rafael, Ramos, Estevam versus Joao, Elias. And I think this is probably the hardest fight to predict on the whole card. It is the hardest fight to predict on the whole card in my opinion. Both guys are very well rounded and both guys have a very good, well rounded skill set coming into this matchup. So they're both good. They're not just great in one area. They've both got great striking. They've both got good jiu-jitsu and wrestling as well. Elias though, this guy takes damage in his fights. He takes a lot of damage. He can take a lot of punishment. He has been finished in the past. He got finished by Elias, who actually recently fought one of the Road to UFC competitors, but I forgot his name unfortunately. But yeah, Joao Elias, he's got much more experience, obviously. He's got almost double the fights of Rafael Ramos, and they both have a somewhat similar style. Both guys are really good grapplers, and both guys are really good strikers as well. Elias, he throws a lot of volume, but he can get caught in exchanges, and he does take a lot of damage. As I said, he wears a lot of damage on him, and he's going to be a lot smaller in this matchup as well. Rafael Ramos is 4 foot taller than him, which could play a part in this matchup, considering it is at 125, a 4-inch height advantage. Sorry, not 4 feet. 4-inch height advantage could really play a part in this matchup, you know, because it is at 125. That is a little bit more noticeable at the smaller weight classes. But yeah, Ramos recently defeated the undefeated 7-0 Felipe Estevam, 7-1 guy at Shooto as well, and before then he wasn't fighting the best competition, but he did beat a 5-0 guy almost 5 years ago when he was like 21, 22 years old. Joao Elias recently has been defeating some pretty good competition. He went in there with Elias and didn't get the job done there, but he's looking good, man. But I think that Rafael Ramos should win this fight. I'm gonna pick Ramos to win by decision in this matchup here. Potentially there's a finish on either side, but I do think Ramos is just going to wear on Joao Elias. Is going to use his bigger size and the grappling and the striking as well. Maybe stick from the outside. I think Elias is going to try and pressure in this matchup against Ramos, but I think Ramos is going to win a decision here. If we look at the odds, you actually get in Elias plus 190 and Ramos minus 225. I don't think the odds are too bad in that matchup there, but once again, they are still pretty wide. Especially this is the most difficult fight on the card to predict in my opinion. And now you move on to Freddy, Emiliano, Linares taking on Jack Jenkins. And I've got Jack Jenkins in this matchup here. Let's have a look at the odds before I completely forget about them, as I like to do. And he is a minus 235 favourite. I think that's a pretty good line for Jack Jenkins here, because I think on the feet, I give Linares a power advantage. I think he's going to hit Jack Jenkins a little bit harder. But aside from that, I think that that Jenkins should be the better grappler and the better wrestler in this matchup here, and even the better technical striker as well. I really do think that Jack Jenkins has the tools to defeat Freddy Linares. But if Freddy Linares comes out and knocks out Jack Jenkins, I'm not going to be too surprised. But I think that Jack Jenkins is definitely the guy that the UFC wants in the promotion, because the UFC right now is building up a pretty big scene in Australia. You know, they've got a lot of big Australian fighters coming up. You've got Tai Tuivasa, you've got Jack Della Maddalena coming up, Jamie Malaki somewhat as well. And obviously they're going to be trying to build up names in that sort of area. Robert Whittaker, you can never forget about him either. And hopefully the UFC comes to Australia soon, man. I live in New Zealand and I'm off to university next year, and I really want to go to a show before university starts, but I don't think it's looking too likely. But come on, UFC. That's not the point of the video though. I got really sidetracked. But yeah, I think I'm going to pick Jack Jenkins in this matchup here. I think on the feet he's more technical. I think he's the much better wrestler as well out of the two. And I think that he should definitely look to use his grappling in the matchup if he wants to kind of exploit a hole in Linares' game. Linares is scrappy, and he makes up for his sort of I would just say it just kind of makes up for everything in his game with his scrappiness and his power. But I think Jack Jenkins really should kind of try and work his wrestling in this matchup as well. I wouldn't be too surprised if Jack Jenkins really starts to chop the legs off Linares and then work the body and the head with his hands. But I think what we're going to see is Jack Jenkins look out to do some grappling. In the last 5 wins, he did beat this guy called Rod Costa, who is a 5-3 record, but it's a good 5-3. You know, he's built that record up against really good opponents. I think I do vouch for Rod Costa. I think he's a much better fighter than his record states. And Emiliano Linares, he's been fighting pretty good competition. You know, guys with less experience than him, I guess. But yeah, I think Jack Jenkins really should win this matchup here. I think he's probably the guy that the UFC wants him to win as well, because he's trying to build up names in Australia. So I've got to side with Jenkins in this fight here. And in this next matchup, you've got Sam Patterson taking on Vinicius Cincy. And if Sam Patterson gets signed to the UFC, I think that he's gonna be the tallest lightweight in the roster. He's 6'4", and he's just really tall. I mean, obviously he's 6'4", but especially at 155 as well. And he uses that size really well. You see a lot of really tall guys not use their size too well, and Sam Patterson is one of those guys that can use his length to his advantage, and you do like to see that. He's fighting this guy called Vinicius Cincy, and I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I know everything about Vinicius Cincy, because I would be lying to you. He hasn't fought for almost 3 years. There's not a lot of fight tape on him in general, and it's quite just hard to kind of figure out what Cincy is bringing to the table, because honestly, I really did struggle to find a lot of information on him, but he is a little bit taller than Marvin Vettori, if that helps you. So he's not a short 155er by any means, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see what he brings to the table. He obviously brings a good grappling game. He's got 6 wins by submission, but I think what Sam Patterson's going to do here is he's going to work from the outside like he does, uses his range very well, as I said before, and he's fought a very good level of competition as well, which you do like to see. He's got power on the hands as well. Now I'm going to be picking Patterson by KO, but it's not that hard to yeah, it's not that hard to predict. Sorry, it's not easy to predict this fight, because I don't really know what Cincy's bringing to the table. I don't know much about him whatsoever. He hasn't fought as good a competition as Sam Patterson has, and he hasn't fought anyone as good as Sam Patterson. I can tell you that for sure. Sam Patterson fought this guy that was 10-6, but then you look back, he fought Kamil Magomedov, who was 14-1 at the time. He fought this guy that was 18-6, 9-3. I mean 2-3, but he's been fighting much better competition than Cincy has for sure. Sorry, I think someone just started up a chainsaw like right outside my house. But yeah, I'm picking Sam Patterson to win this matchup. Hopefully my neighbor stops with his chainsaw, because I need to record Bonacini versus Donovan Beard. But yeah, I'm picking Sam Patterson in this matchup here. I'm going to pick him by KO as well. The odds are Sam Patterson minus 250, Vinicius Cincy plus 210 right now. Alright guys, we're getting into Bonacini versus Donovan Beard, the main event of the matchup, and I just realised I've recorded the whole video with my overlay for my YouTube channel, not the We Want Picks overlay that I made for the We Want Picks team, so I'm going to have to do a little bit of editing in this matchup, in this video I mean. But yeah, let's talk about Bonacini versus Donovan Beard. I think that Donovan Beard is a very logical step up in competition for Bonacini here, but I'm going to still be picking Bonacini to win. Donovan Beard, in his last 2 wins over Tracy Hardy and Miles Lee, he's been taken down in the first minute of the fight. But that win over Miles Lee is actually really good, because Miles Lee has a win over Cedric Dumas in the amateur scene, and Cedric Dumas got signed to the UFC off Dana White's Contender Series this year. But yeah, as I was saying, I think that Bonacini, he's gonna shoot for a takedown early if he wants to use his wrestling, which is probably what he should do to win this matchup, and many matchups if he does end up getting into the UFC. But Donovan Beard, he can throw up submissions from bottom. He does have power on the feet as well, but I am gonna expect Bonacini to get a takedown, at least one takedown early on in the fight for sure, because yeah, as I said, Donovan Beard hasn't showed the greatest takedown defense in the past, and over lesser wrestlers in my opinion than Bonacini is as well. But yeah, Bonacini minus 1800 favorite. You're paying a lot of tax on that line, in my opinion. Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how the odds are, especially when Bonacini starts fighting in the UFC. I'm kind of campaigning for a Bonacini versus Anthony Hernandez fight, because both guys are grapplers. Anthony Hernandez has cardio for days. It'll be a really good test. But he's got to get past Donovan Beard first, and Donovan Beard is dangerous on the bottom. He's got good submissions from bottom, and he's also got power on the feet as well. So it'll be interesting to see what both guys bring to the table here. I think Bonacini is eventually going to work for a finish though. And I don't know if it will be in the first round though. I think that Donovan Beard will definitely pose at least a couple of problems to Bo in the first round. But I think after that, I think Nickel will probably work for a finish. And that's my predictions. That's my predictions for week number 10. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Yeah, as I was saying, man, my final video for Dana White's Contender Series 2022 on the We Want Picks channel, my final video in general, as I record these videos after I record my own videos for my own channel, and since we're at the outro of my final video, I'm going to say I do have my own YouTube channel, Artem MMA Analysis. I thought I should wait till the final video and the outro to mention it. So if you've watched all of these videos and you've really enjoyed them, I do actually make my own videos as well. But yeah, I like the We Want Picks team. I'm really happy that they gave me this opportunity once again. And I still do make content as well. As I said, I make content on the blog as well. But yeah, final video for the We Want Picks channel. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it. And yeah, hopefully I can see you guys again some other time. So thank you very much for watching this video. And thank you very much for watching all of the Contender Series 2022 videos as well on the channel. So thank you guys very much. And I'll see you in the next one, whenever that is.